Today for this bike check, we're checking out our very own Blake Sampson's Nukeproof Scout, which is a little bit different to the regular Scout, which as you know is a trail bike. Blake has sorted this out to race the Megavalanche on. So at the heart of any bike, of course, is the frame, and this one is the Nukeproof Scout. This is their aggressive trail bike. You could set these up though for cross country, or like Blake has, near enough as a mini downhill bike to cope with the rigours of the sort of rocky, rough terrain you get here out in Alpe d'Huez. As stock, it's running a 425mm reach, so this is a size medium frame, and the standard head angle is 65, but Blake's is a little bit different. We'll get to that in a minute. Out back, it's got 435mm chainstays, and there's plenty of room in here to get up to a 2.8-inch tyre. Blake's not running those though. Again, we're going to update you with spec when we get there. The frame is super versatile. It is very, very stiff and very strong. This has already been through the mega qualification and a day of absolute abuse on the mountain. And other than a few scratches and dings that you would expect for this kind of stuff, it's still shining. Now up front for the business end of Blake's bike, he's running quite an aggressive cockpit here. He's got a 50mm Nukeproof stem. Of course they make a 60 and they also make the stumpy 35, but the 50 is what works for Blake. Sitting on the top of that, he's got his direct Nukeproof mount for his Garmin on the top there so he can record his ride details. Handlebar wise, he's running the full rise and the full width Nukeproof carbon option. So that's a 38mm rise and a full 800mm wide. Pretty wide, pretty aggressive setup. Grips on the end are the Ergon GD1 in the slightly slimmer option. We're going to chat to Blake about his rider preferences shortly. For brakes, Blake has upgraded from the guides that come standard on this bike to something a little bit more downhill friendly and downhill orientated. That means, of course, he has the code brakes fitted, so they're really, really powerful. What he's got on here, you might see on his carbon lever blade, it's also got his custom name written on there. So it's got Sampson, a little special one just from Sram for him. He's also mounted his Eagle shifter directly to this, and he's run it in quite a flat position. I tend to run mine quite down so I can get easy access to the thumb, but I guess he wants it out of the way on an event like this. I also noticed that he's running his brakes at a fairly normal angle. A lot of riders like them quite flat for alpine stuff, so we're going to talk to him about that. Something you won't see from your angle there is he's running a Crankbrothers dropper remote on the underneath. Of course, he has his number board on the front here, and he's also got two sets of chain master links there, because in a race like this, it's quite likely you're going to smash something, perhaps a Mech, and you're going to have to take the chain off and rejoin it in order to finish the race. The Megavalanche is all about survival. So when it comes to forks, this bike as standard actually comes with a Revelation running 140mm of travel. Perfectly adequate fork for most things you'll ever do on a Nukeproof Scout. But of course, out here, you really do need that bit extra. So as far as I know, he actually pinched these off Neil's Nukeproof Mega, which I'm not sure Neil knows about because he's somewhere else at the moment. He's got fitted inside here 3 volume spacers, so it's nice and it ramps up for him, a nice controlled fork. He's not running it too hard, but he's got a bit of low speed compression on there just to keep it up and stop it from diving. So it's a very supple fork and really good on the hands, which you need on a hardtail, of course, on this sort of terrain. He's got a GMBN mud fender just strapped on here just to catch the basic stuff that can get on your goggles in a run like this, but nothing too big that's going to interfere with it. The caliper, of course, are the pro-only red code calipers down here. They look super cool, and he's running a massive 200mm rotor. Wheel-wise are DT Swiss E1700s. They're nice and sturdy, a nice wide 30mm rim, sealed cartridge bearings on the hub. It's got the center lock system rather than the 6-bolt system that you see on a lot of bikes. And he's running the Kaiser downhill tyres, so 27.5 by 2.4 with the really thick downhill casing. He's also running Nukeproof Hard inserts on the inside of these, and he's running way too much sealant because he knows that he's going to need it in that final. Out on the back of the bike, he's got the same red caliper as he has up front, but he's running a 180mm rotor on the back. Now, some people might wonder why he's not running a 200 somewhere like this, but of course on a hardtail, the back end's bouncing around all over the place, so he's just going to be locking that wheel up all the time. So we're running a slightly smaller rotor because he doesn't need quite as much braking power on there. Again, it's a DT Swiss E1700 on the rear with a Nukeproof Hard insert. so much sealant inside there, it's almost a joke, but he definitely needs it. When he came down from that quali run, you could see sort of sealant all around the sides of the sidewall of the tyre, and he was running about 35 PSI, so that's a pretty firm tyre. Obviously you need some sort of element of grip up there, but you don't want to run them so soft you risk pinching them too bad. The tyre, of course, is the Continental Kaiser 27.5 by 2.4. We did look at running a larger spec tyre on here, but to be honest, there was more danger of him tearing the sidewalls on them. So this actually worked out a lot better for him. It's a much tougher tyre. It's got the wire beading on there, tougher sidewalls, and of course, combined with the Nukeproof hard system on the inside and a load of tyre sealant, it's proved pretty robust. Now, I'm quite surprised after the quali that there's no loose spokes and the rim is totally true. And he told me he hit some stuff really, really hard on there. Hard enough to nearly bounce him clean off the bike. And just looking at the tyre, which was a brand new tyre earlier this week, is already showing severe signs of wear. It just shows you what the terrain here does to a bike. When it comes to transmission, he's running Sram Eagle 1x12. It's the EXO on the back here, so that's a 1050 cassette, massive gear range, and he's obviously got the Sram chain on there. Up front, he's got a 34 tooth X-Sync 2 chainring, quite a nice size chainring there with the MRP upper guide. You don't often lose a ring, but you just need the extra bit of security, especially on a hardtail. Cranks are 170mm, and he's running the Crankbrothers DH mallet pedals. Super strong, tough pedal, big platform, so if he doesn't clip in first time, he knows he's going to be able to rest his feet on the pedal and carry on regardless. You also might question why Blake's running clips, because he's a flat pedal rider. But when you're riding something as rough as this, you need all the help you can get to stop your feet bouncing off the pedals. Of course, these feel quite similar to flat pedals in the fact that you can move around on them, but you have the security of the cage, so kind of the best of both worlds for an event like this. And finishing kit on the bike includes the Crankbrothers dropper post. This one is the Highline model with the 150mm drop. I did ask if he could fit a 170 on, but it was a little bit close with the collar on here, so 150 suits Blake nicely. Saddle is the Ergon SM comp on here, and what you might notice is it's got slightly bent rails on it. Spoke to Blake about this and he said it pretty much saved him because he had a bit of a moment running through a really rocky section, completely out of control, no footed, and this bad boy saved his undercarriage. All we need to do now is find out how much this thing weighs, and then we're going to go and have a little chat to Blake and see why on earth he picked a hardtail to race probably the roughest race of them all, and find out a little bit about what he's most anxious for race day. Let's have a little weigh of this then. So that's 14.57 kilos, or 32 pounds, 7 ounce. That's as much as my Mega. So, who better to speak to about the bike than the rider himself?
Yeah, hello.
Okay, so you've done quali now on this pretty crazy bike, really, by all accounts, to be riding down from that.
From that across the moon, they call it. Yeah. It's rough as anything, you know. I can't. There's bad words for it, but it's.
Without stating the obvious, how does this compare to riding a full suspension bike?
The magic carpet, I would say. This is rough. You know, it's totally different riding style. The way you sit on your bike, the way you move your body weight around, because you don't want. It just kind of shifts you to the front, all your body weight, because it's bouncing too much.
Yeah. Well, I guess there's you've got to preserve the bike a bit. Because I noticed that your wheel's still really straight. I'm pretty amazed at that.
And I haven't had a puncture. Oh, I touch wood.
Yeah, well, that's pretty good going. They're pretty heavy-duty tyres.
They are.
I've told everyone, you know, you've got the hard inserts on the inside of those and extra fluid.
Yep.
So you're saying about all your weight shifting to the front. Also noticed that you've magicked up a Rockshox Lyrik.
I dug deep in my pocket to buy those.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not from Neil's bike.
Who told you? How did you?
Okay, so you've got this on here. Obviously, this is going to help the arm pump and hands a bit, but it's got to be pretty gnarly on that.
It is gnarly, I'm not going to lie, it is super rough. I'm picking my line very wisely, hence why my tyres are kind of in good shape, because I'm not doing all the crazy lines.
Yeah,
I'm actually picking my line perfect. I don't want to, I'm not hucking. Like if I was on a full suspension bike, I would huck it.
Well, I looked at your quali time and I looked at it compared to some other pretty fast riders. And I know that they would have been taking all the faster lines. And they're only a couple of minutes quicker.
Yeah.
On a course of, 20 minutes long on the quali course. So I think that says a lot for your riding style and the fact you're looking after it. Yeah,
I think that is the keyest thing. You got to look after your bike when you're riding that.
But that is only 20 minutes. The main event is far longer. It goes all the way from up there and all the way down there behind you, down to Lake Alamon. So, what are you worried about? You've got to be worried about something.
Arm pump.
In a race like that.
Arm pump and snow. I looked at the snow. Again, I looked at it. It looks horrible. I don't like the snow. Yeah.
Is there a good way to ride the snow?
Well, Ben Deacon and I went up there to look at lines, and the snow is disappearing fast because of the sun. And it's rock or snow. And I think when I'm there, I'm just going to go for whatever's there and just get down. So I'm scared of the snow and arm pump.
Have you got any sort of backup lines if you get pushed into places you don't want to be?
Hell no, because I've forgotten.
So you're just going with it?
Go in.
So your arm pumps are concerned.
Yeah.
Fitness? Obviously, at altitude, it is pretty hard going up here.
Yes, and to be honest, when you're on a hardtail, when you're riding, there's no rest. You can't sit down because it's rough. When you're on a full suspension, you can actually lift the dropper.
That's interesting. So a lot of people say when you come off the glacier, you almost get respite where you can relax your arms for a bit.
That.
And you can't.
You can't.
Wow, so that's like super hard.
Even the flat bits is rough.
So what sort of time are you expecting to finish in?
Oh man, an hour?
An hour?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's see if you can do a sub-hour.
Oh.
So I couldn't help but notice that you've managed to bend the saddle rails. That takes a serious impact to do that.
Yeah, my whole body weight bouncing up and down on that, going through the snow, bull riding, because you can't put your feet on and ride a deep rut like this. You have to ski it, tripod it through.
Yeah, it's tripod technique.
Yeah,
Seen
and I
that.
bent it up, and it was like that. No lie, and I was going down the fire road. I couldn't even sit on it because I was sliding back. So what I was doing, I was jumping on the saddle with my bum. Sounds bad, but I had to bend it back so I could sit on it for that climb over there.
I guess I can't imagine you do that on a full suspension bike. I reckon that's probably just because you're riding a hardtail.
Just because I'm riding a hardtail.
All that impact going through the bike.
Yeah.
Wow, and so also something else different for you is the fact you're running clips. I know you run them here and there at home, but normally you're a flats rider.
Goosebumps thinking of it because I chucked myself in the deep end, and because it's super rough, I wanted my feet on my bike. I don't want it bouncing off. And you can't go fast with your feet bouncing everywhere, but you can go a bit faster on a hardtail when you are clipped into your bike, because then your feet are attached to your bike and you're not going to get anywhere.
Do you think that being attached with your feet, it makes it easier on your hands as well?
It does, especially in rough sections. I can lean back onto my heels a lot more and bring my body weight over and onto my legs and let the bike rattle between, but still, there's only so many places you can do that, and you can't do it everywhere.
Yeah. No, fair play, dude. The last thing as well, you uprated the brakes, and so what I was talking about earlier was how the bigger 200 rotor on the front giving you stopping power, but the smaller rotor on the back, and I'm guessing probably because you're skipping around and you're not going to do that much braking with it?
Do you know what? I was overwhelmed on how rough it is on a hardtail. Coming down, I am more on the back brake than I am on a full suspension bike, because I don't want to go too fast and out of control, because it's super easy to get out of control on a hardtail, especially when that back end hits a rock. It just flicks you wherever it wants to go, whereas that full suspension bike is going to track that ground a lot nicer, whereas the hardtail, hell no, it doesn't do that.
I think you join me in wishing Blake well, and if you want to see how Blake gets on,
click over here on how gnarly riding a hardtail with Megavalanche is.
Don't forget to share and subscribe, and as always on GMBN Tech, give us a huge thumbs up. Cheers, guys.